Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Did you see what I said in the chat, folks? Can you hear me in there? This is the world's first and worst live tuba show. I hear clicking. I think that's coming from my ghost town. Hold on. Welcome to the show there, wherever you might be. This is the Tubadylan Show, where we get along in harmony. Hope it's coming through. I'm listening in delay. It doesn't sound very loud to me. So let's see what we gotta do to fix that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. It's me, huh? Maybe this needs to come up. Can't adjust it on. Okay. Welcome. It does something, that's for sure. Well, they have the adjustment on the other part. Makes sense. Don't make the talent do it. And this is talent, what you're seeing right here, folks. That's causing echo. I know you don't like to go out much because of Corona. Do you have a famous mask? I love you ask questions every time. That's cool. I gotta take these headphones off. Boom. I think you can hear me now. And bring this down even a little more. Bam, bam, bam. Right there. In there. Yeah, I have a favorite 2 masks that I wear, but they're not here. And honestly, if you want to talk about masks, I had a mask experience just, well, it wouldn't be yesterday now because we're past what, at least in America, we call the day point, which is midnight. So Friday, my family and I, we went out for the first time to King's Nursery. No relation, no worries. To get a bunch of flowers for my front yard here and side yard here and a little bit over there. But to get some flowers because I'm a little pansy and I love having flowers in my garden. And so I took the kids and the beautiful wife, Modern Minimal Minnie on Instagram. Please make sure you check her out to King's Nursery, which is a lovely nursery that we've been to before, but not for at least 2 years, I guess. And that was like the first time we'd gone out other than staying in the car together. And other than my 2 doctor's visits where I had to wear a mask. And the kids haven't gone out either. So we all got there, and about half the people there were wearing masks, and half the people weren't. Now we're here in southern North Carolina, and the rules here have like eased up. They haven't been super strict anyway, and people have been pretty respectful of each other, I guess. But we haven't gone out. Like we go around the neighborhood in the woods, and there's plenty of space here. So we haven't had to wear masks. It was the first time that the 4 of us walked around a store and had to actually wear masks and go to the store and interact with people. And the amazing thing was there were some people who wore the masks the whole time, which we tried to do just to be courteous, not because we necessarily felt we needed to. My wife and I are both vaccinated, although she's still 1 week out from full vaccination. But because this place was outdoors and we knew it wouldn't be crowded, which it wasn't, she decided she wanted to go. And she wore a mask. Fine. So we went there. And it was an unusual experience. And I thoroughly enjoyed it because I miss people. I like to interact with people in the public, talk to people. I really like to smile at people and take up conversation, which was unusual because I did wear my mask the whole time. You asked what mask I wear. I wear like a LA Dodgers mask. It's just a sort of, what is it made of? Probably polyester, really. I also have a mask that says Spaceballs the mask that I didn't wear because it seems like it would attract attention, and I don't necessarily look for that when I go out. But I really like that mask. I'll bring that mask and wear it at work where I, know people. I haven't seen these people for a long time. When I go back to my production job, I'll wear that one. Those are the masks I wear. A Dodgers mask, world champions, by the way, and a Spaceballs the mask, which I hope Mel Brooks's family, and he or whatever, I don't know if he's still around. I should know, I like him a lot, but I don't know, are getting good money for people buying Spaceballs the mask. Yeah. And we will continue with our show. This show is brought to you by Evian. Evian. If you're ever in the French Alps and you get thirsty and you find a rocky, marbly spring coming out of a huge rock mountain that's with icy caps and you're very thirsty, go up to that and put your mouth to it and have a little sip. And as you drink it, think of how well it's pH balanced. And think about how if you had the forethought 150 years ago to do this, you could have perhaps bought that spring, bottled water there, and somehow made millions of dollars selling it to people all over the world who ride around in yachts and limousines. That's usually where you see it. But I recommend it highly. It's full of minerals and water. You can also fill these bottles up with other water, hopefully non-microbial, relatively clean water, and then show it on your YouTube channel and pretend that it's really Evian. It makes you look really sophisticated, successful. And that's the name of the game here on YouTube. If you look successful, if you look like you know what you're doing, if you drink Evian, if you have a tuba channel and you have several tubas behind you, several, and you have a nice blurry background, like that's half the game right there. You don't have to really know anything about tubas. You don't really have to know anything about water. But if you have both of those things, you can talk about them in any kind of way you want, especially if it's your own show and your own channel. You know, and when you have literally 2 million people watching you on any random given night at 2 in the morning when you decide to actually go live on the air, you know, that's not really enough people to resonate in rebellion or an insurrection. It just allows you to create keywords to see if YouTube will chime in and either promote your video or not. You could say things like Amazon.com. Now, it doesn't mean you have to sell something on Amazon.com, but maybe the algorithm wants to sell something on Amazon.com, and then you get a third viewer. And once you get a third viewer, well, when I say 1, 2, and 3, I'm trying to be humble, but what it says here on my screen is that I have 3 million viewers. Or at least I look at it that way. Like, I figure if my grandmother was still alive and she was watching, she'd say, "Don't worry, Dylan. I know it's only 3 viewers, but you can pretend that it's 3 million. Feel like it's 3 billion people watching you, and then you'll know that they're actually paying attention." You know, so I'm here. This is my show. I talk about tubas on this show. I generally talk about absolutely nothing. Sometimes things that are absolutely ludicrous, and sometimes I like to talk about my state-of-the-art YouTube one-man studio. This is it here. If you're watching from home, you can have a few angles here. We have several different angles in this studio. I can turn and just talk to you directly right behind the screen if you're going to decide to comment. And if I have a lot of people who are commenting, because, you know, when I do come on, there are oftentimes many millions of people in the chat, and it goes so fast I can barely even read it. Well, I'm not your grandma. Well, thanks, Travis. That makes me happy. Well, you know, people will not come back from death until Christ returns. And a lot of things that are really bad have to happen before that. So I'm really glad you're not my grandmother, in that I don't expect to see her back here for quite some time. But from day to day, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, Bitcoin is going back and forth, up and down, and governments are trying to address that. The Middle East is on fire. Inflation is going nutballs on just about everything. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to come on YouTube in the middle of the night and say hi to your tuba buddies. So this is what I'm doing. And this is what I do. And this is my show. But I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't mind even personal questions, questions about my life, questions about the universe, questions about my plethora of tubas. I'm also very into trumpets, trombones, guitars, basses, home recording, video editing, special effects, sound effects, and film scoring. And I would say if I had any real hobbies, and you can ask me all about it, I'm into watering my flowers as well. And most people want to hear about that on YouTube. We water our flowers in peace despite the terrible times and the things that are going on in our universe. If you look over here, I have a couch with 2 puppets and a tuba. And I'm going to send you there right now. There they are. That's them. That's them. Now that is my son Landon there. He was an actual kid, and somehow he transformed into a puppet. And I do suspect that it had something to do with that drumming animal Muppet. I'm not totally sure exactly why this happened, but it did, and maybe it was just a random thing. It could have been, I can't speculate. My studio, it's been sort of out of sorts here. I can barely get enough power in here to run everything, and I try to do a Zoom meeting in here with folks, and things going wacko. But I still have puppets. For me, that makes me super happy. But yeah, this is my show. We probably have some quiet ambient music in the background. Hopefully it's quiet. Let me listen to the mix again here. I've been working on this slowly over time, trying to get a decent mix with this sort of cheapo microphone I have. I have much better microphones in here that I could record my voice on, but I have one hooked up so that if I want to get up and walk around, I can. That's the whole point of that. Let's see. If you have any questions about studio gear, if you're thinking about starting your own YouTube channel, don't ask me. I know nothing. But you can. I'll tell you what I think I know. Or what I think you know. Might be nothing. That's what I know. Oh, hey. I think I'm on this one. There we go. That one's probably real dark and crummy because I don't have any lights shining on my face from this side. Not like you people care. This is my show. Could you give a run through of your different tubas? I can do that, Travis. Do I have all the tubas up here? Yeah, I think I do. That would actually give me a purpose. Hey, Travis, you give me a purpose. This is great. This is like why we communicate here on YouTube. This is just absolutely fantastic. So Travis asked for a run through of my tubas. I think that's a great idea. Now I just got to figure out what's the best camera. You want to help me out, Travis, out there and other guys? So this camera could be very good because it's got the best autofocus, and I can actually widen it more so you can see more tuba. But this camera, I can see you better, and it's in manual focus, so it doesn't matter. It should be focused on me now. Let me look at my screen here. Looks like, I think I should go with this one. I mean, there's all kinds of cameras we could use. I could use this one when I go get it, because that's my wide one. You can watch me go get it. I'll give you a run through of my different tubas. This is fun. Well, I don't know if I didn't test my microphones for playing them, so no guarantees if I'm going to play them. As a matter of fact, some of them don't have mouthpieces in them or mouthpieces around that I would necessarily use with them. But I'll start. I'll give you the run through. Here we go. This is, let me go to this camera here. Boom. How's that? I won't necessarily play them. Well, this one has a mouthpiece, but if I play it, I have to mess around with a bunch of mics and stuff. Let's see. Yeah, so let's just see if this will work real quick. Do you want to use this audio device? No. Okay, even though I am kind of using it. Let's see. What if I click on that track? Will it? Oh, looper, that's where I want. One. Oh, there's something happening. I don't know. Trying to hook this up so I can play a few notes here. Let's see. Let's put these headphones on, pause. Okay, well, if I need to, I think I can play this thing. This is run through my tubas. Here we go. Eastman 836. 4/4. This is a really cool tuba because it has a small bore and a huge pancake bell. I mean, just a super huge bell. I'm going to take these off. Hold on. So I'm just going to talk to you guys. Won't necessarily play these tubas because I think it's easier to do it that way for now. But I'm showing you my tubas. So what I love about this horn is that it plays in tune. It's super nimble and easy to play. It really is quite easy to play. The valves are short action, really, really fast and smooth. Nice and quiet, even with the original felts from the factory, and I've played this horn a lot. Except for the fifth valve, it's very clanky. Fifth valve's very clanky. But for a good all-around horn, this is fantastic. Is it the perfect horn? No. It has a few little issues, which I think could be very easily fixed by my repairman. Just haven't gotten out to him yet. I've got a few little things. I think he could make the fifth valve sound much more quiet. And a few of these slides are not quite aligned with the proper tension. I'm guessing that might have come through shipping. So if I ever get it out to my repairman again, I could have him tweak a few things. And that would be all I think I'd have to do to this horn. I haven't really had to pull slides on this horn at all. It's pretty easy to, so if I had a note that I was going to hold out, like say a D, I might push it in a little bit, D on the staff. And I may adjust the fourth valve slide a little bit here and there, but I haven't had to do that with this tuba. Only if I'm getting fussy about holding a note, and that's been few and far between. So this is a really nice horn, and I love it. So that's the first one. I'm going to go through these hopefully a little faster, but boop. In the middle of the night here. But why not? Let me put this one over here, where it usually goes. Yes, well, here we go. I'll introduce you to my Yamaha 822 F Tuba. You could call it the Jim Self model. I believe he had the very first one. Several other Hollywood musicians love this tuba. Doug Tornquist has one, and Jim Self has 2 or more of them. And Tommy Johnson played on one for quite some time. Towards the end of my studying with Tommy, he was playing it exclusively and talking about how much he loved it because it was so easy to just carry one tuba into a session and feel like you could play absolutely everything. And I would agree with him. That's one of the great things about the Yamaha 822. It has a very good low register, and everyth's relatively simple on it. The intonation's not perfect, so you have to struggle somewhat in your mind to always hit the right notes, especially if you're searching for something. So the intonation is definitely not perfect on this tuba. Not like I've ever had perfect intonation on an F tuba, but the intonation is better on some of my other F tubas, like this one. This is the Yamaha 621 F Tuba. You probably call it the small Yamaha F Tuba. And this is one of the early ones done in the factory, so it has no insignia here. Nothing, because it was a handmade one early on, super early serial number. It's in relatively perfect shape. I keep my horns in great shape, and this is one of the horns I've played the most throughout my life. So thankfully it's traveled to different places around the world and not been damaged. I will usually bring this tuba if I travel, if I want to bring a tuba, and put it in the Yamaha case, and it does just fine. And this horn is very, very much in tune, and probably the easiest tuba I've ever played. And to this day, I think it still has that designation for me as the easiest horn to play everything. However, it has limitations. There's the fact that the bore is so small and the bell is so small gives you rather large limitations in your dynamic range, which also gives you musical limitations, because when you have a big dynamic range, one of the reasons why the greatest players on earth prefer big tubby tubas, you can do more with the music. You can play it more loudly, you can give it more vibrato, you can make it float through the hall more, and depending on what kind of tuba it is, like a rotary tuba will usually have a little bit more attack and a little more direct sound than the big American tubas. This horn's what they call a pea shooter tuba, and I would almost compare it to like a very small bore jazz trombone. It's made for very easy playing and technique, but you are limited in your sound and your dynamic range with a tuba like this. But absolutely love this tuba, the Yamaha 621 at 5-valve. You would call it a 3/4 F tuba. Go on to the next one. There we go. Okay, here I come, coming back. Isn't that fun? You get to see my butt when I turn around. You know, I have all these cameras. I really should use them. Like I should switch. Not even talking to you now. There you are. Those, like I gotta keep in mind, the audience is the camera that I stick on. I have all these cameras, and if I move around, grab a tuba, go somewhere else, talk to you directly, because I really want to talk to you because it's so important. I need to look in that camera. If I go get a tuba, I can put it on a wider camera, and at least it'll look a little better than the camera where I'm sitting here talking to you, this camera, because when I turn around and walk back and get a tuba, I think that my rump goes into the middle of the screen. You probably don't need this much information. But here we go. We're going over my tubas. This has been a special request by Travis Hand, my friend here. And we're working on it. We're switching, we're switching, we're switching. Here we go. Next tuba. This tuba is a lot like the last one, except that it's in double C instead of a single F tuba designation. And it's the Mac Brass. I could not tell you the model number, but you can look it up on the Mac Brass website. This is the, what he calls the 3/4 double C. This is the one with the 16-inch bell. I believe he made them in 14 and 16-inch when he first started putting them out, but pretty much everyone wanted 16, and I think he's now gone to only 16-inch, which is a good choice. I was the first one to get one of these. I ordered it right away when he first announced it because I always wanted this tuba. And frankly, I super love it. There's a couple of little issues with it. And well, it's a little too bad that the Chinese are the ones that came out and made it, because I think Yamaha, the Japanese company that originated that last tuba I showed you, the 621, TU421S. Oh man, thanks Ethan, man. People are on top of it. Yeah, this horn's great. I really enjoyed it. This is another kind of very easy play everything tuba. And that's pretty much what I like about it. I get to play out on Memorial Day for the first time in a gajillion years, it feels like. I'm vaccinated and my band's playing a Memorial Day concert. So downtown Matthews, North Carolina at Stumptown Park on Memorial Day. I'm going to sight read a Memorial Day concert. I can't wait. Hopefully they'll send me the music. They said they would. Haven't seen it yet. It's probably pretty easy. I might bring this tuba. I've got to bring just one C tuba is all I need to sight read a Memorial Day like concert band. So it's probably Sousa and, you know, some Broadway musical patriotic stuff, right? And I don't know, this horn, so this horn also, this horn plays super well in tune, super well. I mean, they designed it so well, and it's got some great things going for it. It's got a couple of detachable links, so if it does need repair, you can do that, just like the Eastman. But it had some design flaws, like the fifth valve here. There he wasn't there. Where the thumb ring is supposed to go in the fifth valve is literally exactly where the fifth valve is. Exactly. Here, I'll give you a better look at that. And this just gives you an idea of sometimes what happens with some of these Chinese instruments. So I'm going to push it up right here. So there you go. You see the fifth valve there, the actual paddle? Look how it's right next to the hole where the ring should be plugged in. There's a little hole, right? And that's where the ring should be plugged in. And there's a little paddle that's your fifth valve paddle. I'll hold it with my, let's see if I can hold it here. And here's the paddle, you see that? Okay, so if there was a ring there, which there was when I first got it, you could put your thumb through the ring, but you can't move the paddle because your thumb is above where the paddle is. So it did not make any sense. That absolutely didn't make any sense to me. Now, from what Tom McGrady told me, they fixed this problem. When I called him immediately and said, I can't use the fifth valve and the thumb ring. He said, oh yeah, I had the same problem, just take the thumb ring off. And I thought, no, don't take the thumb ring off. You need the thumb ring. It gives you security. It makes you feel like you're in control, you know? I guess I have a thumb ring on all my horns. All my horns are 5 valve, except for the compensating instruments, like the British style. Anyway, I took the thumb ring off, and just have to say, even if there was a thumb ring here, it could be placed in a perfect spot. It would have had to be moved over right next to the lead pipe here. But even if there was, let's see, let me turn over here to this one. Even if there was a thumb ring up here a little bit higher, like where my thumb fit through a thumb ring, like here, I don't know. I like this horn without it. I don't feel like I need it at all. The trigger is the perfect spot to rest my thumb and play anything. Just playing real soft because I know it's going to go through this lapel mic. It sounds crummy. Whenever I have a horn in my hands, I have to empty condensation and stuff. Anyway, this is the Mac brass. You asked to see all my tubas. I'm taking way too long, but I'm going to keep going. I've never hated that placement. I have small hands when I play tested that horn, and you like the ring placement. Oh, well, that's great, Ethan. Cool. So maybe if you have small hands, that's actually the right place for it to be. That very well could be. Yeah, but for me, I could not even articulate the valve all the way down when I had it there. So that was like that's one of the only problems with this horn. The horn plays great. It's less limited in power and dynamic range than the 621 F Tuba. Very nimble in the low register. I don't know, it's one I'm considering bringing to that one Memorial Day concert, which is outdoors. It's on a stage and, you know, looking into an amphitheater. So it won't give me a ton of power, but since I am sight reading, I won't have, well, most of my horns play well in tune other than my York Brunner, which I know how to play in tune either way, so I wouldn't really be worried about that. That one doesn't play really well in tune. All my other horns do, because that's been my life goal, to have tubas that play in tune, and that's why I still have these tubas and I haven't gotten rid of them. So anyway, so that's this one. I'm trying to go over all my tubas, so I might as well move to another one. I could talk about tubas all day. You see me rubbing my butt, whatever. Sorry about that. I wasn't really rubbing it, I was just pulling my pants up. Okay. So, well, between these two, I'll show you this one real quick. A lot of these tubas are on YouTube. A few of them I've reviewed and some of them I've played, but anyway, here's the British F, the Wessex British F Tuba. This is the tuba I would not bring to a sight reading concert. No way, shape, or form. This is a nimble little tuba I think it would work well in a brass quintet, but I haven't tried it. I also think it works great for solo stuff, and for smaller orchestras maybe, or maybe just a band where you need to have an F tuba flip the other way. But this is the Wessex British F. Terrific horn, plays very well in tune for a compensating instrument. Plays very different than the tubas I'm used to, so I can't say a billion things about it because I just don't know it well enough yet. I haven't played it with other people enough to know how it does with other people. But quite a fun horn, and another horn that when I saw the design and heard about the horn, I knew I had to have it because it was one of those other horns that sort of, you know, marked off the clicks of my very favorite tubas that I wanted to try. And I kept this one because it is fantastic. Very well made, like Wessex. This one's a handmade Wessex tuba, and it's obvious that the Chinese studio that they're making these in pay pretty good attention to detail, considering it's a Chinese instrument, you know. What's this question? What are your techniques to achieve this? Oh, there's a question before that. Cool. Joseph, can you play any Eastern style music for the tuba? Magam-based music, any compositions that you know that feature intentional quarter tones? Ooh, wow. What is your technique? That's really cool. Well, I do have this thing here. I play with this sometimes. Let's see. Is it plugged in? It's not plugged in. This thing's really cool though. I just don't think it's plugged in. Oh wait, maybe now it is. Let's see. Still not. I have this drone. It's by Radal. It's an Indian drone, and it will play just a drone full of overtones from one note, and I love playing with that. Do I play quarter tones with it? Not necessarily, but I think with a tuba you can. I've played in groups that have had odd improvisers. I used to play in a group called the LA Jazz Ensemble. No, the LA World Jazz Ensemble. And there was a bass player in that group. It was an eclectic rock kind of group. But the tuba was used in that group both as a bass and a solo instrument. Or it was me playing, but it was a bass and a solo instrument. And I don't remember playing quarter tones, but I took a lot of solos when we had concerts, and the instruments were Eastern. We had really fantastic players, like Ayrton Moreira was in that group. He was the percussionist with Miles Davis, who played on like Bitches Brew and all these great albums, you know, Ayrton. And then there was another guy, I don't remember his name off the top of my head in the middle of the night, but he's like one of the most world famous Middle Eastern flute players. I mean, he had a slew of flutes he would bring all the time, and he would play them, and he was fantastic, right? There was another guy, Jordan Miller, who played trumpet and violin, and he was like awesome. I think he teaches music in Las Vegas these days. And then the rhythm section was just smoking hot. Like all the people who played in there, the bassist played with Santana. I don't remember all the people's names. That group was really interesting. It was one of my favorite ones ever that I played with, the LA World Jazz Ensemble. And that one, I don't know. I think maybe I played quarter tones, because I do remember in some of my solos doing bigger lip slurs and doing things. Like you almost have total freedom in certain Eastern music to play anything. Like if you play something that's sounds absolutely terrible, it will somehow find its tonality. You don't even want to do that, but if you do, it will somehow fit in. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I'm going to keep going through my horns because it's a goal of mine now that I've been challenged to do this. So as we go here, I don't know if I'm going to bring them all out, but this is the Miraphone Bruckner Double C 5/4 rotary valve tuba. There we go. And not much to say about this horn other than it plays pretty much perfectly in tune and has a super easy low register. The upper register is not, I would say it's not like gorgeous beautiful like. So my other C tubas, I like the upper register better. It's the best on the 6/4 on the York burner. It's the best upper register of all of them. But this one has just super fast valves. It's rotary valve. This is probably what I will bring to my concert in a week, and that I have to sight read because it plays in tune, and because I don't have to flip it. All the water comes out the bottom. So this one's just terrific, and it's really light. Miraphone, yeah, thank you, Miraphone. This is a nice light, big tuba, but nice and light. What's the difference between a saxophone euphonium and a tuba? Well, everyone knows that a saxophone is, you got the baritone saxophone, you've got the tenor saxophone, soprano saxophone, alto saxophone, and we have the bass and contrabass saxophone, much rarer saxophones. And I guess, did I say soprano saxophone? And they're usually used, especially the soprano saxophone, in smooth jazz. Like Kenny G plays the saxophone. Did you spell that right? I don't know what's going on. What's the difference? Oh yeah, okay. Well, euphonium, you want to know what a euphonium and a tuba are. A euphonium is a tuba pitched in the tenor range where a trombone's pitched. But otherwise, it's pretty much a tuba. It just happens to be pitched in the trombone range. I'll make that simple question. And the tuba is pitched in the bass. So this is a contrabass tuba. So the fundamental note on this tuba is a double C, a C that's 2 octaves below middle C on your piano. And you can play this tuba all the way down to the last note on the piano, and if your lips are flappy enough in your pedal range, you can also play it lower than the piano. So we're going through all these tubas here. This is live here on the internet. I'm not trying to show off, I'm just showing you guys because I love tubas, and I was asked to show all my tubas. So we're trying to get through these here. Next one. There's one that's really hard to get out. So, but I'll still maybe show you, who knows. This is a 6/4, what they call a B-A-T, or a big ass tuba. This is my York Brunner, and I mean, this is my most valuable horn, I would say. No more questions right now, that's fine. I will tell you about this. There's 4 people watching. I'm sure this is very important for all of you. But here is the Yorkbrunner, also double C contrabass tuba. And this is a copy of the one of two of Arnold Jacobs' tubas, double C tubas, and the Hirschbruner copy. Everyone believes that the Hirschbruner copy is the copy of the second one, the one that was destroyed, not the one that Gene Pokorny has, obviously, because the one Gene Pokorny has a shorter bell from the curve here. The Yorkbrunner has got this just massive, massive bell from the bottom here all the way out to the top here. But Hirschbruner himself, Peter Hirschbruner, was a master instrument maker, and he's gone now. So, excuse me, I'm getting all coffee. I think I screamed or something and it messed up my voice. Yes, very much important. Oh, well, good. I'm glad I'm sharing this and you enjoy it in the middle of the night here. This tuba here, as I'm showing off these tubas, this was made in 1992-93 while the Hirschbrunners were experimenting with a few machine parts. So I'm still unaware of which parts of this tuba were partly machined. I believe it was right around that time that they actually built these machines that they've now sold to Adams that make some of these curves and bends and some of these different tubings. Before that, it was all hand done from sheet brass, all of it. Now my horn, I think, is mostly hand done, and it was definitely worked on several times because it was one of the main ones where they were doing the switch up. And this horn was so wonderful when I first got it that I didn't send it back, even though the bell had been completely smashed in shipping, even though it was a brand new horn. When I got it, the bell was crunched in right here. But I decided to play it anyway, and I had played on the other one that they sent me. So they sent me one for free to play for several months. Back then I was playing a lot, and I had enough clout that they would send it to me. So they sent me a free one, and just to see how much I liked it, because I was thinking about getting one. That was all the craze, and all the people were winning auditions with this horn in the early 90s back then. And I don't know, like, I thought I wanted to be an orchestral tuba player at that time. I think I kind of knew in the back of my mind that that wasn't what I was going to do. But I thought, you know, everyone has this huge double C tuba and everyone says it's the bomb or whatever. So I inquired, and they said, we'll send you one. So they sent me one, and I loved it. I sent it back. They made me one, sent me this one, and it was crushed. But it was better. Long story short, it was better than the first one they sent me, which was perfect, other than the crushed bell. So it kind of worked out because Rob Stewart, who I heard recently retired, he's a brass manufacturer, repairman in the LA area. He's actually in Arcadia, California. He's the guy who built Tommy Johnson's double tubas. He had two different double tubas. He's the one who built Jim Self's Fluba. Rob Stewart built the Fluba, if you guys know what the Fluba. Anyway, he put my horn, he fixed the bell perfectly. He said it was, he had never worked on a horn this big. This was the first Yorkbrunner that came to Los Angeles, I think, as far as I know, of any. I don't know if anyone else had one before I had it. Even the symphony players, like, well, maybe Gene had one, because he was playing in LA around that time. So I'm not totally sure. I might have just had like Gene Pokorny envy. Like, honestly, like, I do remember that we played a tuba Christmas together, Gene Pokorny, and I was up in the front, and that was before I had my Yorkbrunner, and he had a big tuba, and he sounded so good. And I think it was, he might have been, it was a Yorkbrunner, I think, because I don't think it was a Chicago York. And that was maybe what made me want to get it, was just hearing him play. And hearing him play in the LA Phil. He only was there for one season. That was right around the time where I thought I wanted to get it. I kind of think that's why I wanted to get it, because I was going to the LA Phil a lot and hearing him play. So there's my York Brunner. This is a fantastic horn. They don't make them anymore. Hirschbrenner's out of business. Adam's got the machine parts for the York Brunner, and I'm sure they've modified their 6/4 tuba. I think it's $25,000. It's pretty expensive, and I don't know anyone who has it, and I haven't tried an Adams 6/4 C tuba. It's going to be similar to the York Brunner, but I don't think you can get a York Brunner anymore. And this is what they call the York Brunner, or the Hirschbrenner York copy. And mine's a little different in that, well, I all had a little intonation quirk, so I had to cut the third valve slide. I believe I cut it down here or up here. I think I cut it down here, because it just, even with both slides in, it would not play in tune. But that fixed a lot of the problems. And I ride the first valve slide when I play this horn. Wow, wouldn't this be fun to play at the Memorial Day concert? Just to show up with the York Brunner and just blow them all away. Because the York Brunner is so awesome. Maybe I should do that. I don't know, because I haven't played in so long. I just want to do it. So maybe I should, because it's like, I should give it like a big shine this week before the concert, and just show up with this thing. I don't have the best case for this though. I might have to walk a little ways. And this is such a huge horn. I have much better, like my worst soft case is the one I've got for this one. So I'll probably still bring the Miraphone. However, you know, playing outside, this might give me more punch. Military guys play on these things. Oh, this is cool. People are coming in the middle of the night here. I've tried the Adam F Solo. 10 out of 10. Oh, I bet it is. I bet that is. Is that Adam down there? Tube man? I think that is. Are you in college now? I mean, in the grad school? Like, have you moved on and studying with, I think it's Craig Knox? It's like summer vacation now, right? I don't even know. It's cool. What's up, man? Somebody here asked me, just so everyone knows, Travis Hand, I don't even know if he's still on here, asked me to show all of the tubas. Do you smoke weed? Oh, well, that's quite a question. Joseph Curiel. Are you curious that I smoke weed? Or I believe that all drugs should be legal. I believe the founding fathers would be turning around in their graves upset if they knew that any inhibition of substances that people take happened on their watch, which it didn't, because they're gone. So I'll just keep it at that. I believe that all drugs should be legal, including marijuana, and I think that cannabis has wonderful benefits for health, both physical and mental health, not just physical health, for energy, for food, for clothing and rope, and it's probably the most useful plant on the planet. So, and it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. So the actual herb that's marijuana that is smoked is part of the anointing oil that is in the Bible, and it's part of the incense that was burned in the temple. So that's all I'll say about that. Do tubas smoke herb? Yeah, criminalizing people for personal drug use could be abusive. Well, of course it's abusive and unnecessary. You know, personal drug use is personal drug use. You know, personal infliction of pain on people is absolutely wrong. So to stay at home and have some beers at the Super Bowl is absolutely fine. It's your house and you can have beers. You should be able to brew beer if you want to. You should be able to have marijuana flavored beer if you want to, infused or whatever. I don't even know if you can do that, but sure. But should you be able to leave the Super Bowl completely inebriated? That didn't happen because I'm inebriated. It's just because I'm getting old and it's like 2:30 in the morning. Yeah. Should you leave the Super Bowl after having 10 beers and drive home and endanger people around you? No. Like, that's not right. So that's how I feel about that. Do I live on the West Coast? I grew up on the West Coast. Mouthpiece for the York Runner. Now that's been a challenge all the time. So this has a European shank, the York Runner. It's one of two tubas I have with the European shank. The Wilson double B flat 5/4 tuba back there. That also has that. And I've been so back and forth with mouthpieces for this horn. There was one time that I exclusively used the Yamaha with this one, which was not the smartest thing because that's such a big honking mouthpiece. But I got a lot of sort of volume and depth, especially more in the low register on that mouthpiece. I used Schilke Hillberg 2 for quite some time with this tuba, and that mouthpiece worked pretty good, or pretty well. Excuse my terrible English. Try an AT2 or 1, the U version. What is AT, Adam? The U version. I mean, there's a lot of abbreviation there, but I don't exactly know. Is that like an Adams? That's intriguing. If you know a great mouthpiece for one of these horns, I wouldn't mind trying one. I can't try most of them because most of my mouthpieces are American shank, so I only have a few. Oh, Aaron Tyndall. Oh wow, that's intriguing. So he has one that's a European shank, I would guess. Dennis Wick. Okay, I'll look into that. That's going to be in the chat later, so I can flip back through when I totally forget, which I will, and see what that is and how much that costs. That's interesting. Schilke Hillberg 2's done well on this one. I also used a PT, believe it or not, a PT 32 on this horn quite a bit. I used to play the PT 32 on this horn when I played rock gigs and like jazz gigs. There was something about that mouthpiece that made this horn easier to play. European shank for the U models. Interesting. Okay, well that makes sense. I mean, if you have a mouthpiece company, you probably want to have both European shanks. Let me swap this out. We're still going here. My robot thing is dead now. I said I would show all my tubas. So I'm going to put this one back here. Man, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to play in a week. You guys, maybe you can help me out, guys, if you've been watching the whole time or if you know what I've got here. I'm definitely not bringing this to a sight reading concert. This is so heavy. This is the monster. This is my heaviest tuba right here. This is the one where if I ever want another tuba, especially a C tuba, probably sell this one. Yeah. This is the Wilson. Really finely made instrument and a monster. This is a monster tuba. This is like, because it's got even more feet than that York Runner, you know? And it just sounds incredible. But I'm not a proficient B-flat sight reader, that's for sure. If it was a treble clef part, maybe, because I can sight read pretty well on trumpet. I don't know. I've gotten better in my old age at transposing. That's one weird thing. Like, when I was younger, I hated transposing, and I didn't want to play different keyed things, and I didn't want to... Like right now, I could sit down and read a band part with this B-flat tuba, and I would probably brain fart quite a bit. But if I played a few rehearsals, I think I could totally nail it, and I'd have the fingers down, no problem. Go big or go home. Yeah, this one, didn't I? I think I already showed the Bruckner. Yeah, the Bruckner is what I think I'm going to bring to my Memorial Day concert with my band. It's a concert band, and I think it's going to be the Bruckner, man, because it's super in tune, and it's light. It's just a lighter metal. Like this, dude, this horn must weigh, I don't know how much it weighs, but this is the heaviest one, right? I mean, I wouldn't bring this, obviously, because I don't want to sight read on a B-flat tuba anyway. I'm a C tuba man. But yeah, I mean, man, this horn weighs a ton. But Wilson's is just a wonderful instrument too. I mean, if you look at this tuba carefully, it's all tarnished right now. I've actually never shined it since I got it. It kind of has a cool patina. It almost looks like, I don't know, it looks kind of old-fashioned now in a cool way. But yeah, look at this thing. This is such a monster. And the bell on it. But I just think it would be, this one, oh man, to carry this thing around, be crazy. I think I have a gig bag for this. If I remember right, I know I have the hard case for this in my garage. You got to have a big house to have 11 tubas, or not, you know, whatever I've got, and all the trumpets and trombones that I have. I have cases everywhere, but I have a lot of attic space and a huge garage. I've got a huge garage, so that's good. Yeah, so I'm almost there. I've almost showed you all my tubas. If I can pull out that Mac, whatever it is, the M&M one. Hold on. Let me bring this one back. I almost have to leave this one out a little bit. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to turn it a little bit so it doesn't fall over. Well, it probably won't fall over. Well, I didn't switch cameras, so you have like the terrible, like the butt view, and you like see my waist back there. But here's the last one of the big tubas. I've got a couple of horns that you could count as tubas that would also add to this collection, but here it is, the PT-15 copy. It's a Chinese clone M&M tuba. I don't think that company exists either anymore. Just like Hirschbruner. Smacked it right into that mic. But here you go, there you go. And this horn has a beautiful sound. I'm not playing these horns for you right now. I probably should, but anyway, whatever. Maybe next time I go on. But yeah, this horn has a really nice sound. Also plays really well in tune. Has some fussy low register things that many of these kind of tubas have, but not so bad. The low register on this is better than my Rudy Meinl F Tuba that I used to play. So, and this tuba I got sight unseen on eBay for I mean, I hate to say it to you guys because I think anyone would probably buy it for that price. I almost couldn't believe it. I got this tuba for $1,000 and it was brand new. Like, I don't know if they were selling out all their tubas from M&M Tuba or what, but it was from them and it was brand new and it was like $1,100, you know, and I just could not get it, right? And it turns out it's pretty good. So, you know, I've kept it. And if I was going to play a solo, I would very seriously consider this tuba. Although most of the time when I play a solo, it's like church and stuff like that. And I will bring my Yamaha tubas because they're much more versatile for other things and for ensemble work. And I have better gig bags. This horn, I just have the cheap Chinese semi hard case, so I, don't really bring this horn out. But I like it. It's great. This horn plays really well and really well in tune, surprisingly well. Its valves still work. They're kind of clanky and cheap and just not the greatest. They're Chinese. What do you expect? It's weird though, because like companies like Apple makes everything in China, and man, I'll tell you, I love Apple products. So, I mean, I'm not trying to put down the Chinese, but they do a great job on their tubas. I'm gonna put this back here in the corner. It goes way back here, next to my big, huge bass drum that's back here by the window. And then I just turn it, and I can put this Wilson monstrosity back. There we go. You can hear things banging around every time. It's a little dent, just a little dent. Not a big deal to me, but whatever. Back to the chat. Oh, that's a workout, man. Thanks for asking about that, though. Yeah, looks similar to my Sear tuba minus the valves. Okay. Yeah. Well, I could say that that M&M tuba is quite a nice tuba. Quite a nice tuba. And I got it for just an absolutely unusually great price. So I just had to get it. I've only played that tuba. I almost want to say I don't think I've ever performed on that tuba, like to audience members. Like, I think that tuba has pretty much stayed. It's been in my studio in my house, never left the house since I got it. So that might say something about it. Hey, thanks, Travis. Well, that's all but two. I got two more here. I probably don't need to bring these out. Okay, so one of them I'll just pitch. So if you want to see my Mac Brass tiny tuba, it's this little F travel tuba. I've got that sucker up on the wall here, and I just don't feel like taking it down. At this point, I'm tired. I'm just going to sit here. Sorry, I'm lazy, but it's my show. It's my show. Do we still have ambient music playing in the background? Hopefully not too loud. Should. Oh yeah, look at that. Still going. Cool. Okay. So the other tubas, I've got that Mac Brass F miniature travel tuba monstrosity thing. If you want to see it though, I'm going to pitch another one of my videos. Just YouTube search world's smallest tuba. And I actually did a video on that one, which was one of my favorite videos that I ever did. So I should do way more videos like that, but it takes lots of effort, and my kids are in just the super development stage of life. And it's just not happening these days. I'm not making like produced tuba videos. I would if I didn't have a job, kids, pandemic, Instagram business, all the different things I have to do. That's why I go on live in the middle of the night when I have a little bit of energy. Everybody goes to sleep and they're chill, and very rarely do I go on live even. So, but go see World's Smallest Tuba. It's on YouTube. It's one of my favorite videos that I ever did. And so that tuba you would add to that collection. And then the other horn I have is a Meinl Weston, I don't know the model number, but it's the, I'm going to say it's kind of their intermediate euphonium. It's cool because it has a tuning jigger for the tuning slide, which I've found useful when playing that euphonium. And I've played that euphonium out, and it has a great sound. It's a beautiful euphonium. Is it as good as some Yamaha euphoniums that I've played or some Hirschberger euphoniums I've played? No. But I also got that one for a great price, and I'm glad I have it. If I ever had to do beadlow with an orchestra again, that's what I would play, just because I have it. I've tried to play the beadlow on the Mac Brass Travel F, which you think could be a beadlow kind of horn, and no, it's not. I think I'd rather play it on a C tuba than on the Mac Brass tuba. So those are the tubas. Those are the tubas. People have told me, oh, you should just do. So I kind of think, like, if I did a produced video, I've had a couple of thoughts. Like, I could do a produced video, like, here are my tubas, or here are my trumpets, here are my trombones, here are my guitars, and just introduce all the ones I have. Or I could do one big video and say, here are all my instruments, although that could be insane, because I have more, I think I have one of the most eclectic musical instrument collections in the entire world. I'm not trying to brag about that or say anything about that. I would just say that I without a doubt, I do. Like, if this, hopefully this house won't burn down, and it's well insured, but if this house burned down, a lot of wonderful world-class instruments, not just tubas, would burn down with it. So I have lots of world-class instruments. I mean, this is not the most world-class of my instruments, but I've got all kinds of guitars and basses and anyway. Now this is actually going to, this probably sounds terrible because I have no idea what the loop is, what loop is going on. I don't even have the headphones on, so it could be in a totally different key. Okay, you don't want to hear me play the blues on the guitar, but I love guitar too. So I have lots of really great guitars and trumpets. I have some of the most beautiful trumpets probably ever made, and I love them. So I've thought about doing a video on different parts of my music collection. I think people on YouTube would be curious about that. People like watching other people's junk, you know. It's like there's shows on TV like Cribs and all that. Like, oh, let me show you my house and whatever. And I don't know if I want to show off my house. It's a pretty nice crib, but I don't think I want to show that. But I wouldn't mind showing my instruments. I like talking about them. And I think that instruments, whether you're good or not at them, inspire people to be creative. So that's something I've thought about doing as a produced video, like maybe one on just the tubas, one on just the trumpets, one on just my guitars. I also thought about doing one on Yamaha as a company, because I really dig Yamaha. Like, I've got, obviously, two of my favorite tubas are Yamaha tubas. I've got 2 Yamaha trombones. I think I have 5 or 6 like world-class Yamaha trumpets, and I just love them. And then I have like 3 Yamaha guitars, one of which is a world-class made in Japan at the Hamamatsu factory guitar. So I kind of want to show off my Yamaha instruments too a little bit, but I haven't done that. But I've had an idea about doing that as a video. I think it would be cool, and I think Yamaha would probably take attention to it, but would have to produce it, and maybe that's a project to do this summer. I don't know. I've had so many things going on, and so many different electrical weird situations happening here in the studio where things haven't worked when I've wanted to be inspired and do something. So that's just the way it goes, you know. That's why I like going live, because, hey, why not? Here we are. I'm still up. It's 2:35. Oh, man. I'm sure my wife is probably asleep, which is kind of a bummer, because I like to go to sleep when she does. But anyway, I'm still here for now. I might just play it out, because I showed you all my tubas, and that was my main goal tonight. But I've got 6 viewers. Like, that's incredible for me. So, hey, any more questions? I'd be happy to chat a little bit more. I still have a little bit left in me. Are we still doing a live? Yeah, like I want to do a live lesson or just hang out with you. Yeah, I would love to do that, Adam. Oh man, I got to try that. In my personal life, and I consider my YouTube channel to be my very, let's just say it's like my very personal life. Like, my family is, well, God is first for me. So my prayer life, my spiritual life, I'm not trying to preach to you guys, but it's just that's the most important thing. And I think if you're, if you believe in God and if you try to be true to a higher being and a higher purpose, it will enrich the rest of your life going down. So that life's first, and then I've got my family. I've got gorgeous wife, she's second, and my kids are like a very close third. I don't put them second because like my wife's part of me. And my kids came from us, so they're sort of third, but they're super important beyond that. And then there's my job, and there's a lot of other things that come before that. So this tuba adventure of mine, music, even music itself, kind of comes down lower. And that's why I just can't get my crap together to figure out how to do stuff like that. I have a pro Zoom account, Adam. Like, I should be able to get you on Zoom or whatever student I would want, and like have a split screen of me and whoever's on there, get a semi-decent audio between us and a conversation going, and be able to broadcast it onto YouTube or something. I think that's for sure doable. If not super easy. If that had been the goal today, instead of like filing through and going back and forth and showing off all these tubas, that would have been a good goal. That would have been a good goal, just to get you on. If I go on again, next time you see me on, if I come on tomorrow for some reason, I'm in the mood to do this in the middle of the night, hit me up in the very beginning and say like, let's try to get me on, and maybe I'll do it live. Like, it wouldn't be very fun for people to watch, but maybe I could try to get you on. I think there's a way to do it. I think there's a way to do it. I think I have to just get the feed, because I'm able to get my computer feed into my switcher here. And I think once I get that going and I get the right feed, if I can get the audio and the video in there, because see there, this is a just quick screenshot of Logic, and that's actually Logic. So like if I turn up some of these, you can see how the thing goes up, and that's connected to all my different microphones and things. So if I can get that screen and that audio from that computer into here, then I should be able to get a call or whatever, into here. I just haven't figured it out yet because I'm a lazy husband. I wouldn't say I'm lazy. There's only so much one fat middle-aged tuba player can do with their lives. But I would love to do that. I would love to do it. I would love to sit with you and hear you play, because I know you're a great player, and chat about your tubas. I just would love it. I mean, I'd love to hear you. And there's nothing better than making music. There's nothing better. To me, somehow God, if you really think about it, to me, and now I'm getting a little bit philosophical maybe, but I've always thought that that's the biggest proof that evolution doesn't really exist the way, say, anthropologists at major universities might tell you. Natural selection, little tiny bits, survival of the fittest. The reason why I don't believe in that whole hypothesis, and that I do believe in a great creator is one of the main reasons, is because of the power and wonderment of music. I'm not one of them, although I was gifted with music as a very young, but there are people that I've known, and of course composers and performers that we've all heard and seen and listened to their music or played their music. How could there be someone as talented as Mozart who did what he did in his short life? Does that talent literally help a human being survive as the fittest? I would arguably say no. I don't think that any talent in music would help, say, an ape survive better than another ape to kind of slowly mutate into a person. I think music is a spiritual thing. I don't really necessarily think that the brain is really doing it all the time. Whenever I've had my very best performances, whether they be with a group or a solo, whenever I've been in the zone for something I'm writing or something I'm doing music related, it's always been something that there's almost a disconnect. You'll hear people talk about muscle memory and how important that is. It's such an important thing in music. Yeah, I think there's a disconnect. There's a way that your spiritual mind can communicate with your body, your fingers and your breath and your whatever you can give an instrument to make a sound, or whether it be singing or whatever, that doesn't fully come from just the mind and from the body. It comes spiritually through people. And I've witnessed it, and I've played that way, and I've played when I haven't had it and struggled more with that sort of thing. And I've witnessed just some of the greatest musicians on earth and watched them play, and it boggles your mind how Wynton Marsalis can play and people like that. But for him, it's easy. So now I'm really ranting, super ranting. All drugs, including crack. Oh, cool. Well, maybe some recordings. May be a stretch for me to play. Stanley, yeah, I believe that all drugs, even crack, should be legal. That is, now this video will probably get banned. But I mean, as an American, and as a human being under God, like I don't think anyone should forbid someone, other than your own children. Like, I can forbid my kids from doing crack, and I strongly do forbid them from doing crack. Yeah, I mean, there's so many problems with the drug war, I don't even want to get into it. There's just so many problems, So I don't believe it. I believe America is supposed to be a free place, and that you're supposed to be able to, within your castle, within whoever you are, you should be able to grow whatever you want. You should be able to make any chemical you want, and if it blows you up or if it kills you because you snort too much or smoke too much of it, that's your problem, I don't like to get into politics, but that's just what I think America's supposed to be about. But anyway, I'm answering an old question there. So I think that interests people, especially younger people, to see an older person like me who's kind of a Christian dude. Like, I'm not going to curse on this show and things like that, to say that I firmly believe that all drugs should be legal. But yeah, I absolutely do. That's all I got to say about it. I think everyone should use your head and don't do things that are bad for you. Don't do things that are going to hurt other people first and foremost. And if you're smart, you only have one life. Even if you believe in the resurrection, that resurrection is going to be a different kind of life. When you die, that's something else. It'll be different. So your life here, as you're a person and you're born, and you're going to live however long it might be, this could be the last night for me. Or I could get hit by a bus tomorrow if I decide to go somewhere. I could go play my Memorial Day concert with my Miraphone Bruckner tuba and get blown up in a terrorist attack, and that would be my last day. You only have one life. So try to take care of it. So don't do drugs that are going to hurt you. Don't do drugs especially that are going to hurt anyone else. But if my neighbor wants to do that, as long as it's not bothering me, I am absolutely fine with it. And I think it's very unfortunate there's been a war on drugs in America. It's caused terrible, terrible pain. It's caused the black market situation. It's caused immigration problems. It's just been a worldwide terrible thing. Just a terrible thing, the war on drugs. It's like one of the very, very worst things that's ever happened to this country and, you know, the entire world. It's unfortunate. And I do not believe in it. And with that, and I don't like talking about politics too much on my show, but I was asked to talk about that, so I will tell you. With that, I think I'm going to call it quits, only because it's almost 3 in the morning, and I'm going to work tomorrow, so, you know, or will I have work tomorrow, I'm sure. So I'm going to start pulling this music up here, whatever it might be. I don't know if it's still playing, but I think it is. Let's see. Yep. It's pretty mellow. I like it. I love all of you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. God bless you, Adam. God bless all of you. And hey, I'll see you next time on YouTube. Be well. Love God, love your neighbor. Stay away from hard drugs. If you have to buy crack, get it from Sleazy P. Martini. He's here on YouTube, Sleazy P. Martini. He's the best crack dealer on YouTube. Everybody else, have a good night. And enjoy your crack. This is the